Hey there, welcome back to my channel. This is Lucia Life Coaching. It is day 17 of our 21-day Shadow series. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back, my friends. My name is Adeline. I am a writer, speaker, storyteller, abundance alchemist, and a neuroscience educator. I have been teaching manifestation, shadow work, and releasing any negative blocks or negative beliefs for close to 2 decades. I'm really happy that you're here. Today we're talking about the shadow of unforgiveness. And I'm sure we've all been betrayed and felt it really hard to forgive someone who hurt us. And it could be something really simple. Maybe someone misspoke or miscommunicated or made us feel less than. Or maybe the betrayal was bigger, hurtful, deeper. Regardless of the size of the betrayal, you always need to forgive. Because living with unforgiveness in your heart does you more damage than it does the other person. So let's talk about it. We're going to discuss the pain that we are all carrying that was never meant to define us. There is something really fascinating about the human experience. A painful moment can happen years ago, maybe even decades ago. Maybe someone said something to you that hurt deeply, that cut you, but they forgot all about it. Maybe it was a partnership or a negotiation or a contract that just went left and you were owed a couple of dollars or a significant amount of money. And the person they forgot. Or maybe it was something even bigger, a betrayal. Someone told your secret to everyone. Someone humiliated you or bullied you. Maybe it was adultery. Maybe someone stole from you. Whatever the transgression, forgiveness is needed. Like I said, that painful moment could have happened years ago. The relationship can end. The conversation can be over. The person who hurt us may no longer be even a part of our lives today. And yet, all it takes is that one memory. Being introduced to Peter, and Peter was the name of your ex. The son of a bitch who hurt you. Who stole your jewelry? I don't know, I'm just saying. Right? So one memory, one name, a photograph, a familiar location, a familiar place where it brings back all of those old memories. Any of these things can bring the pain rushing back in as if it happened yesterday. And you'll know it because your heart will start racing, your body remembers it, and your emotions return. All of a sudden, you are irritated. Suddenly, you are no longer living in the present moment. You are now swept away into the past, into a hurtful moment and an experience, and you are reliving it. You are just picking away at that scab, reliving that pain. You're just standing inside an old wound. Welcome to day 17 of the 21-day Shadow series with Lucia Life Coaching. Today we are exploring one of the deepest shadows many of us carry, the shadow of unforgiveness. The invisible weight of anger, betrayal, resentment, and pain that continues to shape our lives long after the original moment has passed. Before we begin, if you are committed to understanding yourself at a deeper level, if you want to release negative blocks and negative beliefs and do the shadow work on a personalized level, please take a moment to subscribe to Lucia Life Coaching. Like this video and share it with someone who may need to hear this message. Because sometimes the person who needs healing the most is the person silently carrying pain nobody else can see. So I want to have a conversation about the weight of betrayal and begin today by sharing something a little personal. Well, a lot personal. There was a time in my own life when I experienced the deep pain of betrayal through divorce. And I want to be very honest. The hardest part was not only losing a relationship, I lost my best friend. I lost the guy that I trusted, that I built a relationship with. The guy I dated for 7 years and was married to for 6 years. The guy who promised to always be there for me. The one I thought was loyal to me just as I was loyal to him. The ones I shared my secrets with. So the hardest part wasn't losing that relationship. It was losing the future I thought we were building. It stripped me away of my identity. I was no longer married. I was the person who got played. I was embarrassed and humiliated. This man was having an affair with a friend of mine. And when I confronted, or in the beginning when I was suspicious and I would ask questions, he would say that I was crazy and I was so jealous and that's ridiculous. He's a married man, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, it was his cousin's girlfriend to boot. So long story short, after about 6-7 months of this nonsense and me really suspecting it, right? My gut was like shouting, waving so many red flags, it wasn't funny. I finally find evidence to support that he was having an affair, and he left. They both left for Puerto Rico to begin their life, and I was left in a studio apartment downstairs from his mother's house. Yeah, you heard that right. I was 27 years old. Been dating him since I was 15. He crushed me. Crushed me. And I hated her. Hated him too, but I hated her. I'm just being real. I trusted her as a friend. I trusted him as my husband. Anyway, I had to get real. And I knew that I couldn't live my life with this anger and this hate and this unforgiveness. Because really, it's a poison. And it tethers you to that pain and to that experience. So I had to let it go. I had to learn from it, heal from it. Look at where I participated or contributed to the downfall of that relationship. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, whatever. But I did the work. I got a therapist. I turned the focus to me. I healed my heart. That inner child that was so scared. And then I took action. Right? I dusted myself off. I forgave him even though he didn't ask to be forgiven. He may not have even realized the impact. I never spoke to the man. 2 years later, I saw him at his grandmother's funeral and we both cried. And at that moment, we both said sorry, but it was kind of blurred. Like we were saying sorry. I know I was saying sorry for everything. Sorry for the loss of his grandmother. Sorry for the loss of our marriage. Divorce can bring a storm of emotions. It can bring grief, anger, confusion, disappointment, sadness, fear, uncertainty. Then we have questions that seem impossible to answer, right? You begin replaying conversations, you revisit moments, and you search for explanations. I know I did. I kept asking, why not me? Why didn't he want me? He married me. How did this happen? How did I not see it? How could someone I trusted hurt me? And for a long time, I carried the weight of those questions because betrayal does something really profound. It doesn't only damage our trust in the other person. Betrayal sometimes damages our trust in ourselves. Right? Damned if I didn't start judging myself. I began questioning my judgment. I thought, gee Louise, could I not have detected that he was falling for her earlier? Did I have my head up my ass? Why didn't I see this? How did I not see she was a false friend, that she was just trying to play it because she wanted to get close to my husband? I began questioning my worth. I questioned my ability to love again, my ability to trust again. And that's where the shadow begins. That's where the shadow of unforgiveness begins. I misunderstood forgiveness. Right? Some people like me believe forgiveness means what happened. Shit happens. Or get over it, Adeline. You're going to look like a bigger fool, fretting and crying after him. I almost felt like I couldn't even grieve. Like I couldn't cry. I was so humiliated by it in every perspective. I don't know if that makes sense. So I try to convince myself you have to forget it. You just have to suppress it and move on. You have to allow that person back into your life. If he ever calls you, just let him back in. But forgiveness is not any of those things. Forgiveness does not erase accountability. Forgiveness does not remove boundaries. It doesn't make excuses for harmful behavior. It does not mean reconciliation. Forgiveness means I refuse to allow this pain to control my future. And that's what I decided. I refuse to allow the divorce, the humiliation, the betrayal, all of that pain to control and drive my future. I wanted a different future. So then I thought to myself, well, here you go, girl. Now you're on your own. Now you get to design and create the life you want based on your preferences and your likes and your wishes and your dreams. Here is something I wish more people understood. Unforgiveness does not punish the person who hurt you. It keeps you emotionally connected to them. Think about that. The person may have moved on. They may not think about that moment anymore. I don't think he thought about me. I really don't. He was so into her, right? They were in that honeymoon stage where everything was lovey-dovey and fun and exciting. He wasn't thinking about me. And here I am, all alone in a basement studio apartment crying. If I'm honest, he may not have understood the impact. So think about that. Sometimes betrayal happens and they may not even understand the impact they had. But every time we replay the betrayal, every time we replay the hurt and the pain and the experience, we replay those conversations and the scene, Every time we relive the anger, every time we return to the pain, we give that experience more power over our present moment. We give it more power. The person left the relationship, but the wound remained. And now it's got scab and pus on it and built up clotted blood. So let's talk about Carl Jung's view on unforgiveness and the shadow self. Carl Jung teaches that every person has a shadow. The shadow is not evil. We've talked about the golden shadow, right? Those talents, ambitions, achievements. Perhaps you're a piano singer or a great opera singer or a great gamer or seamstress, but you were ridiculed or told, hey, there's no time for you to be a dreamer. There's no time for you to play the piano. We got work to do. So you suppressed those talents. Those are golden shadows. So not every single shadow is evil or bad. Shadows are information. They're flashlights that reveal those hidden aspects of our psyche that need to be healed and forgiven. The shadow is not something that we need to destroy. The shadow contains the part of ourselves we have rejected, hidden, or refused to acknowledge. The shadow contains our anger, our grief, our fears, our pain. The shadow contains our unmet needs, our deepest wounds. When we experience betrayal, something inside of us becomes activated. A part of ourselves is saying, I was hurt. I was left. I was abandoned. He left me. I wasn't valued. I wasn't chosen. And if we don't bring awareness to that pain, it doesn't disappear. Please hear me. It does not disappear. It becomes part of our unconscious. This is why Carl Jung believes what we refuse to face within ourselves often continues to influence our lives. Sometimes the person we cannot forgive becomes the person who continues to live inside of us. Ooh, that gave me chills. I'm gonna repeat it again. Sometimes the person we cannot forgive becomes the person who continues to live inside of us. Think about this. The relationship may be over, but the person may be gone, but internally, you still are replaying the conversation. The conversation continues. The anger continues. The questions continue. Why not me? Why did you pick her and not me? The pain continues. The scab comes off. You face that pain and you relive it over and over and over again. The shadow remains active. The person who hurt you may no longer be present physically. For me, he's, I don't know how many miles away. But they still occupy emotional space in your mind and in your heart. I'm going to ask you a question. How long are you willing to allow someone else's actions to control your peace? The way that I responded to the pain and the betrayal defined what my reality looked like, what my future looked like. What you begin believing about yourself because it happened. That's the second wound. The second wound sounds like, I can't trust anyone. I am now a divorcee. No one wants me. I'm not enough. Man, I really should have known better. I should never have been friends with her. Now I'm just unworthy of love. I failed. And sometimes the second wound becomes heavier than the first. Because the first wound was caused by someone else, but the second wound is the story that we continue repeating to ourselves. It's the baggage you carry. It's the story you open up with. You've done told everybody you've met that story. Let's talk about the neuroscience of unforgiveness. Now let's look at what happens inside the brain. Your brain is designed for survival. One of the most important jobs is identifying threats. The amygdala, which plays a major role in detecting danger, it helps your brain remember experiences that are connected to pain and fear. This is why emotional memories can feel so powerful. You can remember something from 10 years ago, and your body will still respond as if it's happening right now. Your nervous system begins saying, protect yourself. This is about to happen again. You feel your heart rate changing. You feel your muscle tensing. The problem is the danger may be gone, but your body is still carrying the alarm. Here's something fascinating. Every time we recall a memory, the brain can update that memory. This is called memory reconsolidation. I'm telling you, the divine source is unbelievable. He has provided us with all the tools within ourselves to heal and to really master any difficulty. When we revisit painful experiences from a place of safety, compassion, and understanding, let's say you're in a therapist room, you're speaking to your psychotherapist, you're telling her all about that pain, right? When you revisit painful experiences from a place of safety, compassion, understanding, the emotional intensity connected to that memory can change. Now, we're not rewriting the history. I'm not going to retell the history and change it up. That's not what I'm talking about. The goal is to say this never happened and pretend that I didn't experience that. The goal is it happened, but it no longer controls me. It doesn't define my future, nor does it define my present. It doesn't define me. Let's talk about some archetypes of unforgiveness. Jung believes that we often move through different psychological patterns. Look at these three powerful archetypes. The first one is the victim. The victim archetype says, why did this happen to me? That's really the route I took. The pain becomes the identity. The wound becomes the story. The past becomes the future. So it's like I said, I continued telling that story, then people felt sorry for me, blah, 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 right? I became the victim. But the victim does not mean someone was not truly harmed. It means the pain was taking control of the person's sense of self. So now that pain, that indiscretion, that betrayal has taken control of my sense of self. Let's look at a different archetype, the warrior. The warrior says, I survived, I endured. And I finally got to this level, right, where I dusted it all off. I packed up my bags. I moved to another state. I started running. I started meditating. I started doing affirmations. I started reading. I changed who I hung out with. I was studying for my master's degree. I changed my life. The warrior says, I survived. I endured. I found strength. The warrior begins reclaiming power. Here's the third. the healer. The healer will ask, what wisdom can I take from this experience? So ultimately, I went and became the healer archetype, right? I had to. Went through those phases, and when I finally got to this phase where I looked within and I spent time in meditation, just quiet time, journaling, writing, loving myself, I asked myself, what wisdom can I take from this experience? What can I learn? Because the healer does not deny the pain. The healer transforms the meaning of the pain. One of Carl Jung's greatest concepts was individuation, the journey of becoming whole. Not perfect, whole. It means integrating all parts of ourselves. The part that was hurt, the part that was jealous, the part that was angry, the part that was afraid, the part that still wants love. Healing does not mean becoming someone who never feels pain. Healing means becoming someone who no longer is controlled by pain. I put that story down. And I chose to forgive him. I forgave him, even though he didn't know it and even though he didn't deserve it. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. Let's be very clear. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting what happened, pretending it didn't hurt. It doesn't mean we're going to be buddies. It doesn't remove the consequences. Forgiving someone allows someone to harm you again. Forgiveness doesn't mean allowing someone to harm you again, right? I'm not going to allow him to harm me again. Nor am I giving someone access to my life. But here's what it does mean. Forgiveness means reclaiming your emotional freedom. I started praying for him and her, believe it or not. At first it was a struggle. I had to fake it till I made it. But after a while, it became honest and genuine. I felt bad for even him getting to that level and I didn't realize it. But also I was grateful because I moved on with my life and I was able to meet years later the love of my life, my husband, who is the man I've been married to for the past 26 years. In fact, this October, in 2026, October 5th, we will celebrate 25 years of marriage. We have a beautiful daughter together, and I'm so appreciative of that. But if I didn't forgive, dudes, I would not be in this relationship because I still have my head and my mind and my emotions tethered to the past. So my, oh my, I'm so happy that I went within, that I asked for forgiveness in my contributions to the downfall of that marriage. I took time to realize the parts I played. I took time to go within. So forgiveness means reclaiming your emotional freedom, releasing the burden, and choosing your future over the past. If I'm honest, the hardest person to forgive is yourself. Because we're our toughest critics. We're so hard on ourselves. I know I am. Sometimes the person we struggle most to forgive is ourselves. Because we ask, why did I stay? Why did I trust them? Why couldn't I see what was happening? Why didn't I leave sooner? But healing requires compassion. You've made choices with the awareness you had at that time. You survived with the tools you had at that moment. Self-forgiveness means saying, I forgive you, Adeline. I forgive you for what you didn't know. I forgive you for what you could not control. I forgive you for surviving the best way you knew how. Self-forgiveness means you forgiving yourself. I want to invite you to try something, a practical forgiveness exercise. If you're able to, please close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. And release. Let's do that again. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. And release. Take a moment. Place your hand over your heart. Take another deep breath in. Hold and release. Think about the pain you have been carrying. And silently say, I acknowledged what happened. Say these things to yourself. I honor the pain I experienced. I release the belief that this pain defines me. I choose peace over punishment. I choose freedom over the past. Now, I want you to take a journal and take a moment to reflect on these 5 questions. You can do it after the video. The first question is, what pain am I still carrying? What am I carrying around? What pain am I still holding on to? Number 2, who or what am I emotionally attached to through anger? Who am I angry at? Who or what am I emotionally attached through anger? Maybe you were fired and you're still pissed off at the person who fired you. Number 3, what belief about myself was created because of this wound? What would become possible if I released this burden? Question 4, what would become possible if I released this burden? Number 5, who would I become if this story no longer controlled me? And that's the question I really focused on when I decided to forgive, not forget, and focus on myself. Who would I become if the story of divorce and betrayal no longer controlled me? And it's a beautiful story. I became a life coach. I continued studying. I collected some degrees, right? I transitioned over from marketing into manifestation and neuroscience. You can do it too. The goal of forgiveness is not to change the past. The past cannot be rewritten. The goal of forgiveness is to stop allowing the past to write your future. The person who hurt you may have taken something from you. They may have crushed you and broke your heart, but they don't get to take your peace. They don't get to take your present moment. They don't get to take your identity. They don't get to take your joy. They do not get to take the rest of your life. I know this because I have lived it. My divorce was painful. I'm sure those of you who have experienced divorce can relate. The betrayal was real. The gaslighting was real. The humiliation was real. The grief was real. But the turning point came when I realized this. My healing was not dependent on someone else's apologizing. He never apologized. 30 years later, never apologized. My freedom was not dependent on someone else's changing, right? My freedom wasn't dependent on him changing or him apologizing. My future belongs to me. Your future belongs to you. The shadow is not your enemy. The shadow is the part of you asking to be healed. If this episode resonated with you, please like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and subscribe to Lucia Life Coaching. Every share helps this message reach someone who may be silently carrying a burden they never meant to carry forever. If you're ready to begin your own identity transformation journey, Lucia Life Coaching offers a free 60-minute discovery call. Together, we can explore your goals, your challenges, and the next step towards creating a life built on authenticity, healing, and purpose. Reach out to adeline.lucialifecoaching@gmail.com. Today's episode features the breathtaking earth visuals and relaxation music from Primal Earth. Thank you for allowing Lucia Life Coaching to play your beautiful video during this episode. It is absolutely